You know, walked through the door, you know, looked at everybody, you know, knew a couple people here already, most of the guys, and it feels good.
Jason, when did this process begin? Did you reach out to the team? Did the team reach out to you? And kind of what's the time frame that brought you back here?
Just grinding. You know what I mean? Obviously, I've been wanting to play football since the beginning of the year. But you know, opportunity comes, and you know, here I am. So that's basically what happened. You know, there's an opportunity given, and I make the best of it.
What do you think you can bring to this roster?
You gotta wait and see, man. You know what I mean? You know better than that. So you gotta wait and see. You know, I can still have it. I might don't have it. What you think? Just gotta wait and see, right?
It's not just on the field though. There's a lot that you can bring in the meeting rooms to the
Oh yeah, for sure. If he asked him,
to this
he
young
said to the
team.
roster. So,
Yeah.
but basically, you know, I'll say, man, it's all about family, man. So when I step in here, it's more for like family. So some guys I don't even know. You know, it's all new faces, some of them. But you know, I'm gonna get to know them. You know, slowly but shortly. But 4 games left. But I'm gonna make the best of it. You know, getting to know each and everybody on the team and try to connect with them some way somehow. You know, whether it's like you know eating with them or talking about life goals or something, but something. You know, I'm gonna be able to connect the guys on the team. But for the guys that I do know, you know, they already know me, so I'm just going for like the familiar face that I don't recognize. So, you know what I mean? It's gonna be awesome, man. So,
You've been putting some stuff out on social on staying in shape. How do you feel physically, having your body be able to kind of recover, I guess, this last thing?
I feel good. You know, uh, I think as far as the training, you know, I've been doing a lot of training with my personal trainer, and you know what I mean. He don't stop. You know, he trains every day. I'm like, yo, in football you get a break, you know. But you know, he did the best job of it. You know what I'm saying, and we kept it going, and I think you know he got me in the best shape probably I won't say in my whole entire career, but damn near. You know what I'm saying? I seen the results, and you know, running around the lake, and you know, running sprinters and running drills. And I was able to kill the bad drill out there. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think I killed it. You know, and I just think just staying in shape was one of the main keys, and you know, just not giving up.
How much have you followed the Bucs this year? Have you tuned into games?
I tune in. I tune in a couple games. I tune in a couple games, and you know that's all I can do. You know what I'm saying? And I watch games. I don't watch a lot of games, but the teams that I have played for and been on, I watch because I still know, you know, people there, you know, guys there, coaches there, and especially the teams that I have been on and won Super Bowls on. I definitely watch them. You know what I mean? Just being supportive and try to see if they're gonna do it. You know, each year everybody say they're gonna go to the Super Bowl this year or make the playoffs, but that's not true. You know, we all know that. You know, we all got jobs to do, and it's whoever do their best, whoever do their job to the best of their ability.
Did that ever get to a point where you thought maybe I wouldn't play a football game again?
Nah, I don't look at it like that. You know, I didn't think I was not gonna play again. Like I say, the opportunity presented itself, and I'm here. You know what I mean? I feel good. You know, familiar city I know, and you know, went to school in Tampa, won a Super Bowl in Tampa. You know, did great things in Tampa, and you know, I'm just happy and excited. I'm here now. So, you know, not once in my head that you know I'm not gonna play football again. Like I say, you know, if I ain't play this year, then you know I was gonna try next year. You know what I mean? But it's a business that you know you get to a certain age, they think you don't got it no more. But at the end of the day, you just gotta prove, you know, to yourself before anybody else. You know what I mean? But that's just the game of football. You know what I mean? For a guy to be 36, about to be 37, January 1st, you know what I mean? It's a big step. Like, you know what I mean? It's a long way playing football. Since I was 20. You know? So I'm excited. You know, I'm glad to be here. Glad to be working with the guys again. Glad to be that team bonding again. You know what I mean? Doing it yourself is very hard. Like, it is, you know, getting up every morning doing it yourself, but I'm around the guys, and you know, I'm gonna make the best of it. You know what I mean?
What's it been like in two more Yaya Diaby, Son Reddick, that whole edge room?
No, I mean, you know, I don't really know how old those guys is or whatever, but they seem great to me so far. You know what I mean? Like I'm a talkative person, and you know what I'm saying. Just because I've been in the league 14 years, and who knows what year they've been. Like I don't look at it like that. I look at it, how can we make this unit better? You know what I'm saying? What I can bring to the table, what you can bring to the table, and even if I see some things that I know that actually help them out. If any one of those guys, then I'm gonna say something. I'd rather say something than keep it to myself and say maybe he should. You know what I mean? You never know. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're gonna be a great unit. There's already a great unit. I'm just bring my talents to it and see what we can do together. You know what I'm saying?
There's still last question this year that won a Super Bowl with you. We won a Super Bowl here.
For sure.
What's it like, having done that, and what memories come back when you walk into this building and know that you put that trophy in?
Man, prime example. I'll give you a prime example. Levante David. Me and Levante been teammates for years. You know what I mean? Not just starting here, but going back to Fort Scott Junior College. You know what I mean? Junior college days, we didn't know our next meal type of stuff, But, coming to Tampa Bay, and he was drafted here, and I was drafted in New York, and me coming to Tampa Bay and playing with him, and getting that Super Bowl made it very tremendous because anybody that got a Super Bowl ring, what you had to go through that year just to get it. You know what I mean? And just me and him going through a lot, on and off the field, and then coming back and still on the same team that he is on, and yeah, pretty amazing. You know what I mean? And I'm all for it. And I always tell him one thing I'm always remember is those guys that was on that Super Bowl team, because that's something you cannot take back. You know what I mean? You got reunions, 10-year reunions. You know what I'm saying? And you go back and everybody knows you, and it's like brotherhood. You know what I mean? And that's what you try to create in the locker room, brotherhood, and try to get to the top, top of the key. And what that is the Super Bowl. So, you know what I mean? Like I said, everybody always have a goal when it starts. Training camp and mini camp, training camp, and you got to go through all that. But the reality is, it's how you combine on the team, I think, and how everybody gonna work for each other.
All right, that's all for Jason. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
All right, cool. Yeah, for sure.
What's it like to have him back in this locker room, back in the mix?
It's almost like when you haven't seen your favorite cousin in like so many years. It's almost feel like that right now.
What does he bring to a locker room?
Well, he brings that attitude that we used to seeing on the football field, and then we know that what to expect from him when he's out there, and then also just great energy from him within the locker room.
What's the mentality of the team right now as you look to bounce back after the season?
So for the most part, we know the ball is still in our court, and we just got to take it one game at a time, and then just make the correction that we make the correction from the mistakes that we made from last game, and just build on that.
Is there anything you can take from that first Falcons game, or is it just so far in the past where it's not as important as it is now?
Well, for the most part, I remember they played us to the end, so we got to expect them boys not to just lay down. Like, they're going to give us a game. They're going to give us their best because it's a division game.
Kirk Cousins had some big games against you guys. The last time he played, he's back under center again. What is it about his experience that you got to be wary of, when he's out there under center?
So for the most part, he's an experienced quarterback, so he's seen everything that's probably just came at him over the years. So he great at making great decisions once he recognizes it. So we got to be good at disguising what we not let them see what we in, because he'll just pick us apart.
Because of the success you guys have had in the month of December in recent years, is there kind of even despite the result of Sunday, is there quiet confidence still in this locker room about what you guys are still doing the rest of the season?
Yeah, for the most part, the confidence is still there, and just over the past year, we kind of make it very interesting to win a division instead of just winning out easy. We kind of making a challenge for ourselves. So we're not really too stressed out, but we still know we got an opportunity upon us.
Do you like making it interesting?
Me personally, I really don't like making it interesting. I like things to be as smooth as possible, but I guess we like it this way. If you haven't noticed how the first couple of games, how we won them.
Coach, and you've had such a great year. Sometimes they don't target you, right? Like, but when they have, you've made plays. Do you have to fight boredom over there at times if they're not coming your way?
Oh yeah, that's when you're more vulnerable. When you just sitting there like, all right, I'm just going through the motion, and then they actually catch you off guard, and it's a big play, and it's like, oh, that's probably the opportunity that I actually was waiting on, but I wasn't prepared for it.
Sure.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jamel.
Appreciate it.